Why do people settle for whoever when they're dating? People cheat and lie all the time, and you'll only end up hating each other. It's online, it's school, it's even what happened to my mum and dad. Now Dad's with his new family, I don't see him anymore. I just don't see how anyone will make me happy. Kelly has a boyfriend, but she's never pied me off for him, and they are goals to the age. Maybe one day I'll change my mind if I can find anyone like that. Carl makes my mum happy. When they got together, she was like a new person and was so in love that her world revolved around him. At first I thought it was sad, but I started to see how nice that might be to have someone who cares that much, so I didn't mind it when she announced he was moving in after a few months. Carl insisted on replacing our sofa and pans. He's a bit weird. It wasn't like he was trying to be my dad, but his stuff seemed to take over. After a few weeks, it felt like I was an outsider staying at his house, and I never got time with my mum on my own. It was kind of annoying, even though I could tell Mum was trying to keep me included, and to be fair, Carl could be a laugh when he chilled out. He liked joking about, which usually meant taking the mick out of someone on TV, or Mum. He was proper quick and funny. Mum was often the butt of the joke, like about how she always flirts with the delivery driver and she dresses too young for her age. She got upset because he joked once about a friend's being fake, which was a fair point, because I always thought that about her mates anyway. He said he was just looking out for her, even though he can be a bit harsh. Carl says it's only a joke. Things took a bit to get used to at home, but school wasn't any better. We had GCSEs coming up, so that's stressful AF. But on top of that, we had this personal development day about relationships and sex ed. It was properly cringe. And in one of the classes, everyone laughed at me when I got a question wrong about signs of a healthy relationship. I played it off as a joke, but then Miss made me stay behind because of it. Gave me a note about someone called IDVA with contact details on. The whole thing was dumb. I felt like I'd been singled out because I got an answer wrong, and everyone knew I'd stayed behind. It was so embarrassing. Weirdly, it played on my mind after a while, and I'd noticed a few things Miss had mentioned in class. I started to feel bad when Carl teased Mum because he'd started nagging her about things he seemed to only be joking about before. He was the worst around his football mates. They'd come over and drink, and Mum would run around after them doing everything, but Carl would still pick on her. One time she didn't bring enough beers through for them, and he kept calling her stupid because she couldn't count. He kept going on about it even after everyone had left, saying she'd embarrassed him and that it was no wonder that no one else wanted her. It just wasn't funny anymore. I spoke to Mum when Carl was out one weekend. She said that Carl was really good to us both and had helped us with money in the house. He was just a bit finicky and liked things his way. I said he sounded like a spoiled brat, which made Mum upset, and she made me promise to not say anything like that while he was around. It was like it wasn't my home anymore. One time I was out using free Wi-Fi to pass some time. The manager said because I hadn't bought anything for ages that I had to leave. It was well embarrassing. But this guy stepped in and said he just bought me Chris, so I should be allowed to stay. After a while, we got chatting about stuff. His name was Paul. He was just a couple of years older than me, but he seemed cool. We talked for ages, and the time really flew. I usually hated talking to guys, but Paul was different to boys in my school. He had a job and said he had his own flat. After a few hours, an older girl came in and sat between us. I couldn't tell if they knew each other, but it seemed like she didn't like him. He wrote his number on a napkin and left. The vibes were bad, so I said bye to the girl and left quickly. I took the long way home because Mum wouldn't be happy to see me back yet. I was killing time listening to music when a car pulled up ahead of me. The girl from earlier got out and came across to me. I tried to turn away from her, but she walked right beside me, pulling my headphones out to talk. She said her name was Lyla. I tried to rush off saying I had somewhere to be, but she laughed and called BS. She asked how well I knew Paul. We talked while I headed home. We had stuff in common and she helped kill some time. We swapped Snapchats and she walked me to the top of my street. Mum and Carl were watching TV when I got home. He seemed really hyper and said we were getting takeaway for tea. He'd ordered in pizza as a treat. Mum doesn't like pizza, and I hate cheese, but she gestured to me to just get on with it. I hid away in my room a lot, talking on Snapchat with Kelly or Paul. Mum pushed me to go out more, so I saw Lyla out a few times, and she's fun to be around. I kept mine and Paul's things secret from her, because she was way too judgy about it. It helped to speak to Lyla and Paul about Mum and Carl. Kelly didn't seem to understand though. I tried speaking to her, but she said that her parents argued all of the time and that this was normal. She said I was probably just stressed out because of GCSEs, like her. She was wrong. I'd hardly thought about my exams in weeks. Paul is a really good listener. He said that it was my mum's choice to stay with Carl and that I needed to think about looking after number one. He said he wanted to see me happy and I didn't need anyone else. That was the first time I kissed anyone. I started seeing Paul any chance I could get. Kelly and Lyla were giving me grief that I wasn't hanging out with them. I lied that I was full on with revising. Paul said that he could tell that academic stuff wasn't for me, so there wasn't much point in me trying, which was totally true. Lyla was waiting for me after school one day. I knew she didn't like Paul, so hadn't told her we were getting serious. She said I looked like crap. Kelly said she saw me go off with Lyla and was messaging me all night. I regretted even admitting to it. I didn't like the fact that she was getting up in my business, since she didn't understand anyway, so I told her to keep out of my personal life. It's like Paul had said, my mates were childish and I'd just outgrown them. She was still my best mate. I just wish she'd grow up a bit. When I got home, I could tell that something was wrong. Mum had been crying and Carl was weirdly quiet. Mum, are you alright?
She's fine, Ava. Why didn't you just tell her? Don't. Why have you been lying to her as well? It's fine. I'll tell her.
Carl, don't.
She's been talking to your dad. Wonder what they've been getting up to.
Ava, can you give me and Carl a bit of space? We need to talk.
It's a good idea, Ava. Maybe you could stay at friends for the night.
This one takes its name from the tree fly it presents.
I could hear Mum and Carl talking. I could hear he was angry, but he wasn't shouting, so I thought at least he wasn't going to hit her. I realised it was probably better to leave. I walked outside. It was cold, and I wasn't sure what to do next. I messaged Kelly. She said she told her mum about what's been happening with Carl and she wants to have a word while I'm around. Kelly said she was worried and might be able to help Mum. I'm not even mad that they're getting into our business. I'm just relieved to go to a familiar place and that I'm not dealing with this on my own. I guess no matter how annoying Kelly can be, she's my best friend. The way we've been recently, maybe I don't deserve help, but she's there for me.
Hi. I told you this would happen. didn't I?
Yeah, you were right.
I'm always right. I suppose one good thing's come out of all this.
What?
You. I've got you all to myself now.
I remembered the keyring and number my teacher had given me. She told me that I should go there when I need help, and I think I might need help this time. The lady there told me I did the right thing going to them. They said that from what I told them that I was worried about my mum, and they said that Carl was a concern for them. They took Carl and Mum really seriously, which seemed a bit dramatic, but I guess they can help. We spoke for a while. It feels good to talk to people who can really help.